I don't put ice. If but people say to me, we like ice. Well, that's fine. But what you should do with it at the beginning is just that wee splash of water, open it up, nose it, taste it, and then if you're wanting to relax of an evening and if you want ice to put into it, then by all means do that. But you remember what it'll do is it'll start locking in those characteristics. And it'll make it more difficult for you. Yeah. But that doesn't say that if that's the way you enjoy it, then you've bought it and you take it any way you like. It's just not the way that we would do it.
But superstition and prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of age statements, everybody likes to know, well, how old it is. And we know that it's actually when it's ready and it's a great blending of single malts. Together. I guess some are younger, some are older.
Yes, indeed.
But tell us a bit more about the superstition and the prophecy.
Well, the superstition, rather than this word blend, I would just say it's a marriage of two styles of Jura. It's this Highland style up to 21-year-olds. And the peating one is only 13% of that. So, and partially that's parts of the superstition of the people of the island. It's got the Yank cross, and you put your thumb in the cross and pour a wee dram for yourself. Oh yes, you're supposed to do that and give yourself good luck. I don't know if you pass it on to the consumer.
Well, be careful,
And the lottery, you get the lottery the next week. Well, we hope so anyway.
Now we'll see people rushing to liquor stores.
Yes, or their favourite football team.
We've got a Friday the 13th coming up.
Yeah, maybe. That's right, because I'm going to Toronto for that. Anyway, so it's 13% of it is that heavy peated, about 45 parts per million. And then we shared it with this up to 21-year-olds of this Highland style. So maybe an average age of 16 if somebody was really looking for an age. Okay. But what it's really built for is profile. And when people drink it, and I'm sure if some of your viewers have already had it, and it's not competing with the wonderful Lafroigs and Lagavulins and Arbex. It's not meant to do that. All it's meant for you to do is to get into that style, but do it very gently. So it's like you're putting on a pair of slippers rather than a big pair of boots.
It's a good introduction.
And it's a lovely introduction to it because it teases you in some way. You still get this, remember, we got this sweetness, the toffee, the honey. That's the top note. It always will be there. And then as it drops, you get this wonderful glow at the end, almost chewy effect. And that's you now getting into that small amount of peat that's there. Big in parts per million, but small in quantity.
But now, you know how people want to know whether there is a terroir effect to the whiskey. Now, what's special about the peat that's used?
Actually, the peat is not dug in Jura. We get it from the maltings in Port Ellen and Islay. So it's exactly the same peat and exactly the same malted barley that everybody else would use on Islay.
All right.
So that's where all that big connection
but I guess
is.
During the distillation, maybe you're not collecting it in the same way.
Well, if you remember when we were talking earlier, the family changed the whole profile. Everything's the same. The mashing, the smell, all the things would be the same. Fermentation, very much the same, or in fact the same. But when it gets to that family, then it changes its character completely. Because of that big, tall family, the two stills giving off that very elegant spirit. And you'll find that even more so when we have a taste of the prophecy. Because even though it's very heavily peated, it's still got the same characteristics as its sisters have.
I think we should check on it.
Okay, let's have a wee dram of the prophecy. Pretty new, and you can see the eye looking into the future.
Now, what can you predict out of just hurts?
I can predict you're going to like it. Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Because,
we can predict that.
I've tasted it a few times already, and I'm pretty sure that a good 50% of our brandy library customers have tried that prophecy.
And what's amazing to me, and when we made it, even was more so amazing, was that how like it was to to the rest of its Juras because of that distillation. You remember when we talked about that? That was one of the most important parts.
What decided you on creating that prophecy?
Well,
and who came up with the name?
Well, we obviously were going in that line with the superstitions of the island, the people of the island, and then the prophecies, of course, for that one-eyed Campbell who left Jura. It was predicted he would leave Jura with just a horse and cart and all his belongings.
There's a fun story behind that.
And that's exactly what happened. So, and most of that is old ladies who, you know, can look into the future. They're called seers. My wife can look into the future. She can tell I'll be drinking before I came into the house.
She can probably predict the hangover when you've been
Absolutely. So you get this big, you know, this big peaty. Remember, non-chill filters, 46%. You can bring it down to 46 without chill filtering. If you go down further, then the fatty acids will start taking and she'll go cloudy. So down to 46. So not complete cask strength, but high strength, 46.
So that's what you're doing when you're doing that filtration, that chill filtration.
Yes, you're removing that. And some people would say, I'm not a big believer in it, be honest with you, but some people would say, you know, you're taking some of the main characters out of your spirit by doing
Difficult to prove, though.
It's all a matter of opinion, and if people think that, then that's fine by them. I don't personally see it. It's where this child is living for its 21 years. That child is brought up on the Isle of Jura. It's the Gulf Stream. Remember, we don't get a lot of frost like they do in the mainland of Scotland. Not a lot of snow. So it's a gentle weather as well. Although it's very wet and windy, we don't get that frost that's going to make a difference in the characteristic. And remember, of course, we're right on the seafront of the Atlantic Ocean. So any sea breezes that's coming, you know, whipping up with the gale force winds is coming in and parting its wonderful characters and its essences onto that child as it's growing up. So, you know, that's why we would always mature on this island. Everything that you see is spent its life on this island. So it's part of this island. So
the maturation, the location of the maturation has an impact.
For me as a distiller, yes, it has. I think a Jura that would be maturing somewhere else wouldn't taste just quite the same as the Jura that lies in the warehouses on the Atlantic Ocean.
Have you tried that?
No, I haven't actually. You know, we do, you know, dip whiskies for other people for their blends, of course, but I've never had the opportunity to actually come and know some of them but they would have only be keeping them for 3-4 years before they get into a blend. You wouldn't have them keeping them much longer.
If I did get a whole barrel from you, and I aged it here
in New York.
What would it be?
Oh, what
would it be like?
Well, that would be the proof of the pudding, really. Whether that would be exactly the same with the right conditions. I think if you'd done it here, I think you would need to control the temperature in some way because the evaporation would be so high through your very warm summers. Where on the islands or even in Scotland itself, we don't get to that sort of temperatures or humidity.
Do you get a summer?
Well, I think I missed it last year. I've slept in, I think. I got up late one day and I missed it.
How do you call the inhabitants of the Isle of Jura?
Oh, they are called the Jurachs.
The Jurachs?
Yes. And we have a great scheme now where people can come onto our site and mention the site. It's www.isleofjura.com. They can come on and talk to me or Willie Cochrane, who's now the distillery manager. You can become a Jurach. Fill a form in, you can become one of us. And celebrate all that we have of the island of Jura. It's a great site.
Now, say we're going there, and we play and we're having lunch and dinner and we're having tea.
Yes.
With the Jurachs. What will they be eating while drinking?
Well, we've done lots of dinners with it. I love that 10-year-old because of that sea breeze. We were talking about the maturation. I love that with clams, any kind of seafood, crab, lobster, if we can afford it some days. So, and it's always readily available on the island Jura. The 10 for us, because of all those red deer are on the island, between 5,000 and 6,000 head of them. That's just wonderful with venison. It's just a nice piece of venison. That is just absolutely wonderful. And then, of course, the superstition, you kind of make a kind of chocolate souffle from that, you know, so that you get that sweetness and a wee bit of orange coming through onto that. And then finish off with a nice dark coffee, bean coffee, and then a nice piece of cheddar cheese with the prophecy. And that's a meal in itself, really. Or you can just forget the food and just carry on just drinking. The nicest thing about Isla is the view over to Jura. Okay, thank you very much.
Sláinte.
Sláinte mhath.